So there was many who their minds could not wrap around the reality of their freedom. Well, here we are as born again believers, but before we got born again, we were slaves of the flesh. We were slaves of sin. We were slaves to our emotions, our feelings, and our circumstances. Now notice, we were slaves to our feelings, our emotions, and our circumstances. But now that you're born again, now whom the Son sets free is free indeed.
Yes.
We should no longer be slaves to the flesh.
Amen.
And of course we know the devil, he's going to come along like the slave masters of old. He's going to whisper lies in us. He's going to try to keep possession of us. He's going to try to keep us in bondage to sin, to the flesh, to the world, to the circumstances. And when the first generation came out of Egypt, and I don't know how many, they probably were slaves, their parents were slaves, and their parents were slaves in Egypt. And the first generation, they just could not come into that place of understanding you're no longer a slave. They just couldn't comprehend it, because there was only one way that could set them free from that mentality, and that was by trust in what God told them.
Amen.
That's why the second generation, no longer were they living and acting and talking and moving like slaves, but they were acting, living, and talking like conquerors,
Amen.
overcomers.
Yes.
Caleb and Joshua and the generation, they overcame the enemies when they went into Canaan, but they had to be freed from the deception of the slavery, the mindset of a slave. And a lot of Christians have this mindset of a slave when it comes to sin and sickness and circumstances and emotions and feelings.
Right.
And God doesn't want you to be a slave to how you feel.
Yes.